Ladies and gentlemen, could everyone take their seats, please? Clearly, the afternoon's coffee and a bit of deal making is more interesting for some people than coming to the room, but it's their loss. First up this afternoon, it's my great pleasure to introduce Clement Chang, the CEO of Metzisoft for APAC. For Metzisoft, who's going to give a presentation on maintaining your IHM. Is it as simple as we think? Clement.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank TradeWinds for inviting me to share with everybody about the maintaining of IHM, and also good afternoon to everybody in the audience, and for those coming from overseas, welcome to Singapore. All right, just a quick introduction. Yep, just a quick introduction about Metzisoft. For those who don't know us, we are established in 2006 and been doing IHM since then. We are approved by, I like the screen, it's high resolution 4K. Anyway, we've been doing IHM since 2006, and we have accreditation from DNV on ISO, and also approved on IHM for most major classes. So just a quick recap about the IHM. Just what the regulation and the guidelines had shared with us. First, to maintain your IHM, you need to designate a person responsible for the IHM. So this person should be trained and qualified. And to maintain the inventory, including the dates of changes on any new, remove, or replace items. And also the signature of the designated person must be there. And also to provide related documents as required during the survey of the ship. And that's previously from the MEPC. And additionally from the EMSA, IHM shall be undertaken by a competent personnel. It's mentioned in the EMSA guidelines, and recommended to perform random sampling. That's a recommendation, not a mandatory. And recommended to have software to support your IHM maintenance. But now the question is, how many of us are really maintaining it as per what the guidelines had shown us? So some of the challenges that we commonly seen during our course of, say, maybe 9 years of experience on maintaining the IHM, the interpretation of guidelines and the regulations. So we see that even the class and what we see in the industry, everybody is interpreting differently, and that causing a lot of confusion sometimes. Even classes, different classes have a different interpretation. And there's a lack of understanding within the supply chain. So, for example, we have seen suppliers who do not know what is the IHM. And obviously there is a very lack of education in the industry. So I call for the industry to start working on this because that really affects the accuracy of the declaration on your hazardous materials and resulting in shipbreaking process, because if you do not have accurate hazardous materials declared, then it may create injury, harm, pollution during the shipbreaking process. And many times we see that owners, managers, they're assuming that little or nothing needs to be done. Or sometimes maybe overdoing it. We see that during our course of maintaining the IHM. I'm sorry, I can't really see the screen, so bad eyesight. I really need to open this slide on my phone. Just bear with me. Yep, I beg your pardon. All right. The next challenge that we commonly see is the management do not see this as a priority. Maintaining the IHM is not important, and let's not focus too much. And as long as we comply, that's it. But that is not enough if we're talking about ship recycling. We need to have a good IHM Part 1 report for the ship recycling yards when they go do the ship recycling process. So that is really important. The next challenge that we commonly see again, it's data management. It's a high volume of declaration forms, documentation, and you really need a good system, not computer system, but a system in place to manage all this documentation. But of course, digitalization is the trend now, and that really will help you to manage all your documentation. And this is the biggest topic right now, lack of policing. Who is actually checking the IHM maintenance? If somebody have heard about an owner in EU being stopped or detained or questioned about not maintaining the IHM, please share with me, because I have not heard anything about that. Two, Henning? Yeah? Because I see that the Port State Control, perhaps their lack of understanding as well, so perhaps they are not doing enough. And class, what have we seen? I'm not mentioning any class, but they are approving IHM Part 1s for not being maintained. And this is the trend, what we see. And this is, again, affecting in the future when it comes to ship recycling. Because if it's not updated, it would not be accurate, and the ship recycling yards will have an issue when it comes to, number one, safety, and number two is the environment. Because you would not know whether that particular item, material, or component has any hazardous materials or not. So in conclusion, I'd like to urge the industry and to work on a well-maintained IHM. Everybody needs to put in their little effort to help the ship recycling process, which is really important because all this hazardous waste needs to be managed correctly and properly. And also by allocating enough resources, because that's what we heard many times. Oh, we don't have the manpower, not enough resource, or they just don't care about it. And perhaps the digitalization is something that the industry can think about when it comes to maintaining the IHM. And they can utilize the power of digitalization and automation to ease the burden of reporting and also free up resources in the companies that focus on their core competency. And this is why in Medisoft we have also developed our ESG app as well, and tailored to the maritime industry that covers not only the IHM but also all other reporting needs that the industry is facing right now. So thank you very much. This is the end of my presentation, a short one. Thank you.
Thank you, Clement. Those comments about policing, effectively the question of enforcement they go very deep into this, and I'm sure that's going to be an ongoing question in the future of the Hong Kong Convention. In an industry like shipping that is often a compliance culture, the lack of clear policing, clear enforcement is a very real problem on many dimensions. Anyway, let's move on to our final panel of the day on downstream waste management and looking at the solutions to what we term the industry's dirtiest problems. We've got an authoritative panel and a highly respected moderator as well, somebody who's been at the heart of the machine, as we were hearing earlier, for a number of years now. So if I could introduce the speakers to the stage, we have Chintan Kalthea, Director of RL Kalthea Shipbreaking; Sigurd Enger, the Senior Advisor Shipping at Bellona, the NGO; Keiji Tomoda, formerly of the Japanese Ship Owners, and now an independent consultant; John Rendy, General Manager of Maritech Marine Environmental Services; and Matthew Kissin, the Managing Director of the Liberian Register. Thank you to all of them. But I must offer a word about Ehud Bar-Lev from Lloyd's Register, who, as you know, is Israeli and lives in Israel, lives in Haifa. He sends his apologies. He's chosen not to travel, not to leave Israel, not to leave his family at this time. And I'm sure the thoughts of everyone in this room will be with him, fellow Israelis and citizens of Gaza, indeed, with the terrible events that are unfolding there. Yeah, but to moderate the panel, as I say, we have a highly experienced moderator in Henning Gramman, the Director of GSR Services. Henning, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, with the water it takes too long, so let us get started. So yeah, thank you very much also for giving us the opportunity, all of us, the entire panel, to discuss one of the key issues. Because whatever we do in the beginning, no matter how hard shipyards, ship owners try to provide accurate data, and we need to put a huge question mark behind that, as Clement just presented, policing, priorities, etc. The waste management is definitely a big issue. If this is not solved, it doesn't matter how good we perform during the operational life of ships, when we see a lot of lacks and gaps. So I would like to ask my panel, thank you very much, to introduce themselves, to talk a little bit about their experience, how they are involved, and if they have some key thoughts about the downstream waste management when it comes to the area or the era behind the ship recycling facilities. Chintan.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Chintan Kalthea, representing RL Kalthea Shipbreaking Private Limited from India. I'm into ship recycling from almost last 25 years. You can say I was a child worker when I joined, but it's okay. Now I can. As Henning is saying, ship recycling in India was not that organized in early years, in late 90s and early 2000. So when we talk about the downstream waste management facility and the waste we generate from ship recycling, is definitely a huge difference in India. It was like there was no downstream waste management facility in India till we enter into 2012, 2013. But since, now we are collecting and submitting a lot of waste, which is hazardous, non-hazardous waste in not hundreds, but in thousands, almost tons to the downstream waste management facility. So the same time it's also reducing because the ship coming to Alang is more modern, has less non-hazardous as well as hazardous waste, because many owners and the builders now following many guidelines for the convention, they not to use the hazardous waste and hazardous substance into the ship building. So it's going down definitely, and let's try to discuss what we can do more on that.
Yeah, Sigurd, please.
My name is Sigurd Enger. I come from Norway, from an organization, an NGO called Bellona Foundation. I also, as a board member in the NGO shipbreaking platform, I represent them too. So I have two hats today. What I've heard today and what's the aim of my trip here is to listen and learn. And what I hear is that it's quite new sounds and new spirit in the branch, which actually makes me happy. I've never been a fan of the Hong Kong Convention because it has some lacks that have been discussed for 15 years or something. But I will congratulate everybody, all parties in this branch today, because now we can take this convention and look forward. Up to now, we have looked around, up and down, waiting for something to happen. Now we can really look forward, and my aim is to see what we can do to find a common vision for the shipbreaking industry. This is not only about Bangladesh or Pakistan or India. It's the world economy is based on shipping, 90% or something. So it's a job being done for the whole world. My shoes is probably transported, so I'm responsible as everybody else. And therefore, I look forward to see a zero emission vision for the future. When we can reach that and how we reach it, I don't know, but I know there is money in this branch to make this proper. I will come back to more.
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Henning. My name is Keiji Tomoda, Director Ports and Harbors Association of Japan. But today I will make comment by my capacity of individual consultant. I'm quite honored to attend this prestigious forum regularly through my long-term experience as belong to ship owners associations. Today, everybody said the good day to congratulate, to walk toward the new tier, considering enactment of Hong Kong Convention. I wish to say the tremendous effort taken by the all party concerned. Yes, Norwegian ambassador, thank you for letting us to have a discussion prior to ratify convention by Bangladesh government, Indian government, Panamanian government, also European countries, include also Japan. But I wish to say this result could be performed not only by those people, but also the peoples belong to the all these industries, workers, yard owners, class society, and consultant, and ship owners. So I wish to clap hands for all of you. Thank you. Downstream operation is one of the hot issue and most difficult part because the progress to set up appropriate capacity of downstream operation is different by countries or different by region or different way of thinking who should take more responsibility for that. But today, everybody said Hong Kong Convention will be taken into place, into effect. Competent authority must bear more responsibility to govern all streamline of the arrangement, how can we motivate them to take appropriate initiative is one of the issues to discuss. So I wish to have an opportunity, good result of roadmap will be reported on the table of next year's TradeWinds forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And then John, please.
My name is John. I come from CTI Maritime Group. We are IHM laboratory inspection and consultancy company. And in my capacity here, I representing Singapore Ship Owner Association. And I'm very glad to, TradeWinds bring back this convention back after pandemic in Singapore. I see that this convention creates a good channel to bridge the shipping industry with ship recycling industries, and create a lot of topics. And this time I see we are, because of the last, especially during pandemic, last 4 years, the big efforts from the recycling countries, and because of Japan always efforts, then we finally we're sitting here, we're talking about Hong Kong Convention implementation, how we can make it good. I just want to point out is there's a still big gap from the shipping industry point of view, considering shipping is a part of the logistic globally, and the shipping in a balance sheet that the recycling value is still considered as very negligible in the shipping CEO agenda. So I hope I can learn a lot from you how to create more value by through the ship recycling activities. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, John. And Mathieu.
So I'm Mathieu Kissin from the Liberian Registry. I manage our Singapore office. Liberian Registry recently became the largest flag by gross tonnage. And you may have heard also that we recently ratified the Hong Kong convention. So it's my first time coming to the TradeWinds Ship Recycling Forum, and I'm glad to come after such a momentous moment for the registry and for the international community. Liberian Registry is whitelisted with all of the major MOUs, Paris MOU, Tokyo MOU, Call Ship 21 with US Coast Guard, and we have about 5,800 ships with the registry. So our assistance in terms of the downstream is going to be more upstream, let's say, from the shipping side, and we're looking forward to collaborating with ship owners in helping them comply with the Hong Kong Convention and taking this first step in achieving a safe and sustainable ship recycling ecosystem.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think this brings me to a very interesting point because, of course, we are not only looking into the ship recycling facilities, but also, let's say, the business partners, which means the ship owners, and prior to them, even shipyards and also suppliers. And without proper identification of materials on board, especially hazardous materials, I think it is quite clear that no safe and environmentally sound recycling can be achieved. And it has a tremendous impact on the downstream waste management as well. Just imagine that some material on board has been inspected, tested. The laboratory maybe has not applied the right analysis method, and as per the documentation, it is free of hazardous substances. So the ship recycler takes it for granted, takes it out of the ship, and then he trades it, and that basically causes an uncontrollable distribution in the hinterland of hazardous materials, and nobody is aware of that. So I think from the shipping side, it's extremely important to pay a lot of attention to the accuracy of IHMs. So that's the first starting point. As the panel is quite diverse and coming from different backgrounds, my question would be, what are your experiences in regards to quality of IHM or accuracy, and how to follow up on that? And we heard about policing or enforcement. What are your experiences in regards to reviewing the IHM or sometimes even questioning them and following up on that? So John, I know you have been very active in this field. I would like to start with you, if okay.
I think for every IMO convention, there's implementation and a monitoring scheme. If you talk about the system, like ballast water, you talk about oil separator, and MAPO Annex 1, MAPO Annex 4, there's always 5 years monitoring and enforcement. Unfortunately, the enforcement and monitoring every 5 years or even annually is created by different technique. In the water discharge or waste discharge, you can take the sample, you can test it, and then you can have the report, then it's compliant. However, for IHM, it covers 15 hazardous materials from various locations of the ships. And that one, if you see every 5 years, I come on board, I monitor, sampling, and I say, hey, this is compliance. It's very difficult. You have to do it. You have to do it monthly, weekly, according to your management. From this point of view, I see from shipping company it's very difficult to implement. The crew is very busy, don't have time, and the implementation part and certification part, like class, also the class surveyors is suffering the knowledge how to monitor and certify it annually or 5 years. So I see there's a big improvement in this part.
Okay, Mathieu, from the flag state point of view, what can be done in regards to control and ensuring that a proper IHM is coming with the ship which goes for recycling?
Yeah. So I think Clement's presentation and John touched on some of these points, and the common theme is reliability. In terms of the registry, I mean, from a reliability, I see two things. First one is in terms of the reliability of the verification and certifying companies. The second one is in terms of the supplier's material declarations. So on the first one, as a flag, what we're trying to do in terms of contributing to greater reliability is twofold. One, for the IHM expert companies, only companies that have been approved by Liberia as a flag state are authorized to develop the IHM and maintain it therefrom. And the application includes establishing certain credentials as to independence, quality, and certification. So when we're talking about certification, we're talking on the one hand, you need to prove that you're certified for ISO 17020, which is for inspection bodies, and 17025, which is for laboratory testing and sampling. And you also need to be accredited by an IX classification society in terms of your ability to develop and service IHM. Then the second one is also with the ROs. So obviously they're doing the vetting for the IHM expert companies. They can't be one and the same. So Liberia is a flag state. We have pretty robust RO oversight for all of the delegated responsibilities that we give to ROs, and this will be no different. And there's similarly an application process to be authorized as an RO to be able to vet for IHM. So again, there we're putting the emphasis on establishing what are the controls that they have internally in terms of ensuring proper oversight of IHM expert companies and their procedures as well. And then also even in-house, how are they training their surveyors and how are they doing the oversight to maintain quality. Just one second point for the material declarations, that's more, I think that's a little bit outside of the flag state competence, but we have a marine operations note, which I'd encourage you to check online if you want some sleeping material. And it covers IHM and ready to recycle certificate. And one of the guidance that we have in terms of the material declarations, in terms of dealing with suppliers, is to consider including contractual provisions. So there's more for purchasing departments for ship owners in order to have some guarantees as to the enforcement and accuracy of material declarations. But for sure it places a greater onus on ship owners, and I think they'll have to do their due diligence and try to work with reputable suppliers to mitigate the risks.
Before I ask Chintan about his experiences with the IHMs provided to him and what the risk and outcomes were, you really hit on a very, let's say, crucial spot: material declarations from suppliers. Everybody of us needs to be aware of that the IHM is also only focusing, or IHM Part 1 is only focusing on structure and equipment of a ship which is fixed. Anything what is loose is not in the scope. And we are only talking about maximum 15 under EU legislation, previously 13, now 14 under Hong Kong Convention or IHM guidelines, different hazardous substances. It needs to be stressed out or stressed that there are quite a lot of cheap solutions around for the maintenance of IHM, which has a huge impact on the quality of the IHM. And there's even an online platform where suppliers can upload entire purchase orders and generate zero declarations, material declarations saying that none of the items in this purchase order contains a single gram of hazardous materials. I think this is a huge risk where the entire shipping industry and also the, let's say, enforcement bodies need to keep a very close eye on where the data is coming from in the material declarations, making sure that the liability issue for those who sign it virtually or physically, that this is a serious issue. And it has a huge impact on ship recycling workers and the downstream waste management. So it comes down to the responsibility issue. And Chintan, what is your experience in regards to quality of IHMs or availability at all for the ships which come for recycling? And have you had any surprises?
I mean, we have already heard today that still not all the ships coming to recycling facility are with the IHM. So when it comes to end of life ship, everything comes on recycler side. So it's still, since HKC is not come in force, so many ships coming without the IHM, and we do the needful for the compliance locally. Like I've been come across one IHM which is 100% presumed and stamped and signed by IX. So that's the situation. So I mean, there's a lot of different quality in IHM as well. So it's not that easy for us when we come across something like that. We do also have a lot of detail and accurate IHM coming with the ship. And it makes so much easy for us to execute the hazardous waste and do needful to just remove it properly, since we have more information on that.
Okay, that's great. And for Sigurd and KG as well, assuming that the data coming with the ship in form of a document called IHM, how do you think, what should be done in regards to monitoring what is coming truly with the ship, what is the recycler doing, and what is then happening towards the downstream waste management? Do you have any idea of how this can be accurate or at least cover most of the hazardous materials?
I think first of all, we learned a little lesson from this speaker from Metisoft, that it's different interpretation of how this should be performed. And of course, this document is the rule for the quality of the rest of the recycling process. So there is a need for updating or clarifying how this should be done in guidelines or so and so, but it should be a universal interpretation of this definitely. And it seems that all parties are interested in that these documents are as accurate as possible to not to expose the workers, not to spread hazardous materials wrong places, and everything. So there is bureaucratic job to do there too.
Yeah.
Yes, I heard improper low quality IHM created some problem, significant problem when the competent authority will find out. If already that situation is reported by the ship recyclers through the identification difference of quality of IHM, as Chintan said. First of all, ship owners are willing to nominate creditable, high-quality service providers to perform proper job. That is one of the things. Some, like your company, creditable, good quality service provider playing important role. Then, how to identify problematic low quality service provider who will sell the services at cheaper cost. Even ship owners, some of ship owners willing to reduce any cost of operations. The existence of such low quality service provider is a problem. How to do that? As Siga said, some kind of universal the guideline and also monitoring scheme. The monitoring, after enactment of Hong Kong Convention, the responsibility is fully controlled by competent authority. They must have such monitoring scheme and indicate the negative or bad cases, why this kind of thing has been happened, and indicate some, this value, that kind of problematic service provider. That is one of the things. Of course, some shipping company who have quite good in-house inspectors, they can also make an assessment through the experience, compare with their own arrangement and service providers' the paper. But we cannot say everybody of ship owners can do such things. We must rely on systematic monitoring scheme.
That brings me to the point which has been mentioned here also before, is about unified understanding and interpretation of the rules. And I know it from my time when I was working for a very long time in the ship recycling facilities, when or if ship owners inspected the yards about whether or not they are suitable for the recycling of the ships, they all came with different expectations, and one owner had as main KPI the percentage of concrete coverage of the yard, which has, let's say, little to do with the quality of the recycling yard. But I see this also in regards to classification societies and also flag states. When we got the audits in-house for being an approved IHM expert company, it ended up that I gave a half-day training to the surveyor, telling him about what is IHM, how do we do it, and he said, and he thanked me afterwards, that was a very interesting day. So, but we pay for giving training and becoming approved. So, and I fear that the same problem might be existing amongst different flag states as well, because they have so many things on their plates as well. On the European level, we have EMSA, which is providing also some trainings, unfortunately not yet properly for IHMs. But do you think, in regards to enforcement and control of the ships, but also beyond the recycling yards, in regards to hazardous waste management, do you think there's any initiative which would be suitable for ensuring a unified interpretation and set of requirements? So, Sigurd, I think you are well experienced in regards to policy making, enforcement in various fields. What is your idea in this regard, or do you see any option for achieving that?
No, I don't see the details in how this needs to be done, but that it need an update to follow the rising standard in the recycling industry, and the rising awareness of the workers' health and the environment around. So where to point this, I mean, the IHM is referred to both in the Basel Convention and in the Hong Kong, so it's in a way standalone thing that has multi-purpose, and it needs to be revised to follow the development in the industry.
Okay, for following up on this revision of Hong Kong Convention, and so far I would say the downstream waste management companies are indirectly covered by the Hong Kong Convention, as Hong Kong Convention makes a reference to the Basel Convention, and that these facilities should be in line with the Basel Convention requirements. But it's up to the, let's say, authorization by the recycling state. And we heard also earlier that there are sometimes there's a full lack of a TSDF site, or it's far too far away, sorry. Then that there are plans for establishing a new TSDF site, which will come in the next couple of years, and there's an existing one. So these are the three main subcontinent destinations. So when we talk about the issuing the permits for the waste management companies, what are the concerns from, let's say, the ship owners or flag state side in regards to, is it appropriate as per Hong Kong Convention, and how far should, for instance, a flag state or a classification society go and check, because it's beyond the fence of the ship recycling yard, and Hong Kong Convention tries to stop there. So Mathieu, maybe you have an idea how far inlands you can go, or what can be done to ensure consistency in this permit scheme?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be the flag state. I mean, the Hong Kong Convention, I raised my hand, I did read it. It would be out of place for a flag state to go into, a recycling jurisdiction and impose some sort of requirements on them. So I think within the Hong Kong Convention, I mean, there's certain reporting mechanisms, which I would hope would be used for all of the obligations if there's some contraventions, if there's some discovery. I think it's going to require collaboration. So from that point of view, I think the flag states, and I'm speaking for Liberia, but I would assume it'd be the case for other flag states as well. We work closely with classification societies, and if we see that there's some things that we get a word of, that we would share on that. But I can't tell you that we're going to be withdrawing certification from a yard, because that's not something that we're giving in the first place.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think all the nations that has ratified the Hong Kong Convention, the ship recycler nations, so to speak, they have committed that they are doing this industry and are committed to, in a way, take care of legislation around it, because there is no other rules inside the Hong Kong that do this. So at this stage, it's very up to the nation's authorities to follow up and make sure that the sites don't need to be governmental or owned or something like that, but it needs to be supervised and authorized by the national state.
Yeah, not to forget, these are sovereign states, so interfering with sovereign states is well, should be avoided. But if, let's say, certain doubts are occurring, it has to be handled, I would say, in different areas or on different platforms. In general, I think everybody of us agrees to that ship recycling is a very crucial aspect in regards to recycling or more modern circularity. So the circular economies is definitely something which we need to look at as like also green steel. So it's intermingled. All of that plays a major important role in ship recycling. And let's hope that one day we don't have to talk about so much hazardous waste, and we can really focus on the circularity of the various materials. But that brings me to one other question, and it's quite clear that whatever we will do at the beginning of a life cycle of a ship, so during construction and including manufacturing components, materials which are used for building ships and operating them, what are the biggest, let's say, obstacles for during ship operation and also especially ship recycling for really ensuring a proper recirculation of the material and to avoid downcycling and to avoid hazardous waste and wastes in general? Chintan.
Glass wool. Glass wool.
Glass wool?
Yeah.
So
that's the thing, you know, that it's most of the waste coming from ship these days is glass wool, like, and that's a huge quantity, and it's not that easy for a downstream waste management facility to operate in a good quantity. So I think it's more important if we found some solution for cycle for glass wool. That might help more for the waste management facility too.
Okay. So basically the current practice in India, as I understand, is that glass wool has to go to the landfill.
Yes.
It's a legal requirement. There is no if, when, or what. No, it has to go.
Some. I mean, if it is in situation, some are going for reuses, but not the entire quantity. They are like 2% can just be reused, like.
So that means you have to deal with the disposal costs instead of selling them for further use. So what is the background behind that? Because usually the landfill, as I understood, is always used for asbestos-containing materials primarily, and landfill space or room is quite expensive. So is it because of the experience that the IHMs are not properly specifying the type of glass wool, rock wool?
Is not mentioned anything about, because it's just mentioned as, sometimes it's rock wool, sometimes it's glass wool. There's nothing related to the hazardous containing connected to glass wool or rock wool. So that's the reason it's just, the practice is just like that. It goes to the downstream waste management facility.
So that's basically taking out vast amounts of materials from, let's say, the circular economy or reuse, and wasting it in the true sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's quite strange. So that means this is something what you would like to improve on the national level, to be more selective in what has to be done with these materials?
It's good for recycling industries, especially for ship recycling, yeah, because it's a huge quantity we recovered when, the ships get recycled. And especially it has no any alternate option. It's not going to stop like other material being stopped using in shipbuilding. So if the solution came out of something for glass wool and rock wool, it might be helped more.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, please.
Yeah, I don't think it's so. I haven't met any shipbuilding yards here, but they are actually building tomorrow's waste. So they should be very aware of how to construct ships of today, so we can minimize this kind of non-use materials that you can't use again, of course, and how this can be done. There should be a reward for circularity constructions, simply.
Yeah, I think that this is definitely something we need to look into much further. But for Chintan, let's say the relief will only come in 20-25 years at the earliest. But that should or must not prevent us from getting it started in a proper way. KG,
Yes.
you've been to many different ship recycling destinations. And you've seen a lot of different practices and also in the hinterland. Do you see major differences between the different countries when it comes to waste management or also segregation, identification in the yard itself before?
I see. It is also the difficult question for me. As far as we can divide it into two parts. One is the removal and storage and handover within the edit scope of yards, and also after release those waste to the third-party contractor or TSDF. The two parts. The first part, yards, the differential cannot be simply evaluation as nationwide. Just there are several the variation of quality management by each yard. So this, as far as HKC certified yard concerned, third party monitored and clarified what kind of required job properly taken by or not. Therefore, we can regard certified yard as achieved yards to the standard. And non-certified yard, some of them already catch up, but some of them not properly handle that. Therefore, in general, the number of yards obtained SOC can regard as good quality yard. But beyond that scope, that depends on country, the different. Our difficulty is the waste management is not applicable simply for ship-related ones, or industry one. And they are working on the basis of competent, concerned government local regulations. Therefore, we cannot simply identify and differential. Of course, somebody said the existence of TSDF is typical symbolic difference. However, yes, we are hoping the appropriate TSDF with reasonable capacity always available. That is best scenario. But even they don't have the TSDF, like Bangladesh government set up the clear plan and strengthen the monitoring for the temporary storage. That's okay. So it's difficult to say. Sorry, you know more than me.
I don't want to put too much pressure on you. Sorry for that. But I think time has come. I would like to thank you very, very much. I hope you enjoyed it. If there's a question, you can use the app. You can also raise your hand. Oh, Mabo.
Having So my question is regarding the IHM. So there is a IHM maintenance on board record. So in ship recycling facility, in Bangladesh, we are getting IHM part 1, it is okay. But in recycled vessels, sometimes, if it is a new vessel, it is coming for any reason, it is coming from the yard, it is very hard to get the IHM maintenance record. Because sometimes in IHM part 1, we find some hazardous material, some gaskets were there, but already it has been removed and it is mentioned in the IHM maintenance report. So if it is not along with the maintenance report on IHM part 1, then it's really very tough to maintain the quality of the IHM. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what is the solution? This is the question.
Proper IHM maintenance. Sorry to say, but it's. I think if IHM maintenance is done properly, it always includes an updating of the IHM itself, including where are the hazardous materials located, quantities, and proof, for instance, for removals, decontamination, waste manifests, whatever is there. Striking it off and saying my ship is clean is definitely not the way to go. Even I've seen that before as well. But yeah, that's definitely an issue. But I would say, does anybody of you want to reply to that?
It's actually it's a cheese and check issues. Depending on each shipping company's the management practice, I was seafarer before. So when I'm based on 3 months on, 3 months off rotations, when I come into the ships, come on board to work for the ships, maybe I also unfamiliar with where is the hazardous materials, where is the asbestos. So it's my benefit. The best practice, I think, is going to life cycle assessment tools. So if the shipping company has the life cycle assessment tools, can trace and track all the hazardous materials electrically, and that will be benefit from all the stakeholders from upstream, not only to the ship recyclers, but also the ship crewing farers.
Okay. Are there other questions? Oh, yes, please.
Hi, Annie. Okay.
Yes.
It's working?
Yeah.
I have a question to Sigrid that we also saw the report of Human Rights Watch and NGO Shipbreaking Platform. So I just want to have a question regarding that. I mean, how can we ensure the responsibility of the shipping companies, of the EU shipping companies, when we are blaming them for the with the report like that? So how can we do that? If you can please answer this question. Thank you.
Yeah, the report is pointing to a problem, definitely. And the conclusion is that the workers on the ground is the heroes, and they should be treated as heroes. And they are not always treated that way. And this is, of course, it's a labor issue in each country. So a general answer, of course, it should be this is one of the many holes in the Hong Kong Convention, how to ensure safe recycling for the workers. So the reason I said earlier that now we can look forward is that when this convention comes into force, then we can start looking at the text and update it. I mean, in my opinion, it was outdated in 2008 when it was formulated, and very many things have happened since then, and it's IMO responsibility to follow the development, because IMO have really stretched in the climate ambition, in for example emission in the Arctic, the sulfur regulation, safety, everything has been enhanced the last 15 years. Very much. It's some of it is revolutionary. So I look forward to June 2025, when we really can start formulating down how to perform this vision I have for a sound, environmentally friendly recycling for workers, for nature, and for the hazardous waste.
Yes.
Very short. I read through the very, very long report released by your organization, and I fully appreciate the function of watchdog and indicate the area of the problem or need improvement. However, the one important thing I sincerely hope or request NGO platform, don't forget the existence of huge, tremendous development and improvement done by the all of audience, right? Without making fair fact-finding and motivation or appreciation, the main players in the field of work cannot be the continued good service providers. Therefore, I clearly hoping don't repeat the bloody BBC's long message like that. Please indicate good thing and need of improvement, both.
Yeah.
If I can just
Very briefly, please.
yeah, very briefly. It's when we point on a problem, it's not to smash everybody in the industry. It's more that everybody in the industry takes it very personally, instead of taking it as an encouragement of enhance the performance. We are very solution oriented and technology optimists, and we think that technology can help us to automate a lot of the dangerous work, and so maybe we both need to change our approach to criticism, because the criticism of us, I'm never surprised. It's very similar every time, that we are just blackwashing the whole industry all the time, and it's not to attack the industry, it's to protect the environment, the workers, and the
Okay. The last two keywords which I take with me is first appreciation and criticism. And I think this is a very important combination. And only with that and with transparency and listening to each other we can really grow. And we can jointly then, only then, achieve the common goal. And to have truly sustainable shipping, including ship recycling, of course. And we look from cradle to grave, or maybe from cradle to cradle in future. I would like to thank all of you. I think, or I hope I have not overstretched the time too much. So, and yeah, thank you very much. And all.
Thank you, Henning, and thanks all the panel. If you could make your way off, we've just got a very short video to play, 2 minutes before I wrap up. But while the panelists are moving off, just one thought actually, going back to your homework of the day, going and reading the Hong Kong Convention. When you do that, you'll be confronted by a wall of clauses about surveys and the discipline around surveys and the pressure that puts on administrations and the parties. So much so, there is Article 10.3, Clause 3, is about the sanctions. And the sanctions provided by the laws of a party pursuant to this article shall be adequate in severity to discourage violations of this convention wherever they occur. The Hong Kong Convention is very clear. The parties and the administration, so the flags and the countries, need to put in place processes that hold people to account. It isn't complicated, folks. Your governments need to, if they haven't, get on with it, to be blunt about it. Anyway, on that amateur's interpretation of a international legal document, I'll move on to a short video from KR Shipbreaking, please.
The whole industry now is very serious about modernizing, about upgrading, and by adapting to the HKC standard. So, but this yard, I mean, it's one of the really, really good ones. So here is only to look at the beauty of this yard and to see how it can be done.
And that was Guest, the Norway's ambassador to Bangladesh, you will hear from tomorrow. So thank you for that. Now, just final instruction. The dinner tonight is in the Sky Loft from the lift lobby. It's at 6:30. Please bring your badges with you. That's your pass to a free dinner. And please remember them tomorrow as well, everybody. Thanks for your attention today. I hope it's been informative and enjoyable, and look forward to seeing you later and seeing you tomorrow. Thank you.